Welcome, folks. Thanks for joining us for the Beer Guys Radio Show. We always appreciate having you here. We'd love to hear from you. If you've got something to say about what we're saying, want to chime in or let us know what you're drinking, definitely feel free to drop a comment in there. We would appreciate it. With that said, we're going to jump into the show here, and we'll see you again here real soon. Welcome, everybody, to the Beer Guys Radio Show. Thanks for joining us, hanging out, having some beers and conversation. I'm Tim Dennis. Brian Hewitt, how you doing?
Not too bad. I've been scrambling because I've been running late on just about everything. I'm still drinking my pregame beer. That's how late
That's
I
crazy. That's
I know,
crazy.
it's insane.
Yeah.
How are you doing, Tim?
Yeah, I'm fine. We've been very, very hot in Georgia this week, and my air conditioner doesn't fulfill its destiny the way that it should. So it's been really hot in my office, and my office doesn't get a lot of circulation. And plus, I've got all my office stuff in here, all these electronics in here pumping out heat. So other than just being hot, I guess I'm fine.
Have you considered some sort of a in-window single room type of like addition for
I
your
can't
office?
put that in my office because I work in here and they're loud. So that's
okay.
not a feasible solution to my problem.
Got it.
Yeah.
It sounds like you need to do something akin to like the terracotta chicken method that you do.
The reverse
cooler,
terracotta
If you
chicken
put
thing.
ice cubes in the terracotta thing and then put a chicken on top of that, it will freeze the chicken.
Yeah. That's an interesting thought. I've been seeing these things on Amazon and different ads and that, but they're portable handheld air conditioners basically, and they're rechargeable things, and it's a fan, but it's got a thermoelectric cooling plate on it, like like the mini wine fridges or cigar humidors do to cool it. It's not an actual coolant, it just uses thermoelectric cooling. The reviews on them have said that they are good. You can use it as a regular fan and it'll run for hours. If you turn the cooling on, they said even on a full charge you get like an hour out of it. So it would be something that maybe I could get a little punch of cool air here and then or buy like 4 of them and just keep
cycling through them. Or they have those units where they have pipes or like the flexible pipe that you put into a window, you run it out in the hallway, but have another pipe that just like blows out
pipes
underneath
the air
your
over
deck.
here.
Yeah, so desk under. So it actually is doing all the noisy stuff outside of the office, and you just run
it's not a bad idea.
2 back in. Like that's a possibility.
Yeah. I'm surprised they haven't done more with thermoelectric cooling, but I think the big deal with it is it's very inefficient. I think it actually produces a good amount of heat in the process. So it's like, the way they do it, it's just not efficient.
I did some looking into that because I've had a lot of air conditioning issues in the past, and that is the big thing. Like, how do that heat goes somewhere? You're trading it,
right?
And the efficiency of these things, I looked into them, and like a lot of them, especially the ones that uses the hoses and things, are surprisingly inefficient just because they lose a lot of temperature, or there's a lot of temperature exchange to those hoses. So it's kind of a weird issue, and it's like it doesn't seem like the technology's moved forward very much at all in the past 40 or 50 years. It's about the same as it's ever been.
Right. Think that we got a new type of coolant other than the old dangerous Freon. But other than that, we're still on about what we have been doing. But then again, Brian, I'm not up on the latest air cooling technology either. So I don't exactly know. But Nate, how are you doing? How's the temperature at your place?
Honestly, it feels like the heat is finally broke here in Georgia. So
yeah.
It doesn't feel that bad.
That's good.
Actually, I'm here for it. It is going to supposedly August is supposed to be cooler than average and wetter than average for Georgia. So, looking at the 10-day forecast, I would concur because I'm seeing cooler weathers and nothing but rain. Good
cold and rain.
Yeah.
Cold and rain. All right, that's fine. Cool it down.
Cold and rain is a lot better than mid-90s and blazing heat.
Just heat, just straight heat. That's all.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
Maybe if I get that portable air conditioner, I get an extra one. I can use it to cool drinks too, like cool your beer. Have it pointing at your beer glass. So you could take that with you to breweries when you're sitting on the patio in 100-degree weather, and have it pointing right at your beer there.
There was a place in the airport. I don't remember which one it was at that had like an ice, like a I think it's what you're talking about, but a plate in the bar that wrapped around the
Oh, I've
bar.
seen those.
That was just
Okay.
like, it was like a super cold plate, and you'd put your pint glass on it and it would
Hmm.
keep your beer cold. I thought it was really interesting. I thought it was a little excessive. I'm like, I don't take that long to drink a beer, and I don't
Right.
need it to be quite that cold, but I do admire that. And that would be, I've been places where the minute you pick up your beer and take the first drink, it's already 80 degrees. Like,
Right.
you're out. So
And
like, there's nothing you can do about that. Like on the coast, basically.
I would bet the type of place that has an ice bar on the bar, that the clientele is they probably want their beer as cold as the mountains, kind of thing.
Oh,
So
for sure. I'm
that's it.
100% sure that's the case. And that's just that's a gimmick, because I don't think that you're really going to lose if you're drinking it with any speed. You're not going to lose that much temperature, in your beer.
And plus,
before
I
you
mean,
finish
on
it.
the bottom of a big thick pint glass, that's probably that. You know what? In all honesty, that's probably more show than anything, to be quite honest with
Absolutely.
you. Maybe it gives a little bit, but I imagine it doesn't do as much as they want you to think that it does.
The whole point of it is that I remembered the place and I brought it up. I don't remember the name, so they don't get that benefit, but I actually remembered the place. So
interesting. If you've used one of the ice bars before to cool your beer, let us know how effective that was at keeping your beer cold. We're curious how that works there.
Indeed.
Interesting stuff. Well, Brian, moving right along, beers of the week. What are you getting into?
I am currently finishing off my pregame beer, which is from Brewery Brewing. I picked it up one of the times I was in Nashville. It's been a little while, but it's called Everly. It's a blended barrel-aged table saison, dry hop with Saaz, Wolf, Spalt, and Salia. I'm not sure I know that hop, but it's really nice. It's a very lovely beer. I enjoy this a great deal.
Lovely.
And I'm always in the mood for a saison. You know what? I never think about them, but when I drink one, I'm like, why am I not always drinking these? They're just wonderful.
Yeah.
Eventually, I'm getting into a Trillium Wayward Woodchuck, which is a New England IPA with Chinook, Rakow, and Amarillo hops. And we'll be doing the after party here with I'll be doing a WeldWorks All Extra Shipper Everything, which is a New England hazy double IPA. It's a 5-way collaboration with The Veil, Side Project, Other Half, and Angry Chair. And I think at least some of those breweries have done their own versions of it. I'm not sure what the whole backstory is, but I saw that on the shelf somewhere. I'm like, well, I have to get that. So looking forward to that. That is what I am drinking, Tim. How about you?
Awesome. Brian, it's water for me this week.
Is it?
So
Okay.
I'm on the H2O this week. Nate, how about you, sir? What are you drinking?
So I'm joining the beer club this week. And so from Parish Brewing, I'm one and done this week. So from Parish Brewing, I've got their Actius Luna, which is a triple New England IPA with strata hops. And the little blurb on tap, they say it has a green flavor profile, and I would concur on that.
Green. All green everything. No,
Green.
that's a different beer, isn't it?
It is. That's
Aggressive
another
green,
half
also a
beer, and
different
I've had
beer.
that. Yeah,
exactly.
You know what? I've seen this, and I did not realize it was a triple New England IPA. I probably would have picked it up had I done it. So the next time I see it, I'm grabbing that. Yeah.
Have you seen any quads out there? I know we've been talking to our friend of the show, Patreon supporter, Tyler, or Dave. I think it's Dave, actually, that likes the quads, isn't it? So
I believe so.
Quad IPAs, and I think did he mention a Quint one time, or we were just talking about that?
We might have been joking about it. I don't know if it's a real thing. I haven't seen anything since some of the Hop Hut releases from Monday nights.
Yeah.
Heck, I don't even see triples very often anymore. And I did see them more often, but I think, again, it was Monday night that was pushing a lot of that. They were really, really into that thing. And honestly, I was here for it. I enjoyed all of them. They did some really incredible things. So
I remember hearing people kind of poke fun at triple IPAs, like it was over the top, like it was just absolute ridiculosity. And then, now we got the quads out there and stuff. It reminds me, this is an old skit on SNL. To show you how old it is, they had just came out with the first dual blade razor, the first 2-blade razor. And I think the skit on SNL was joking about it having 3 or 4 blades, like,
like
spoof,
5,
like the spoof commercials that they do. They're like, if you thought 2 blades, was insane, what about 4 or something? And now you seriously have like the Quattro and 4 and 5 blade.
I think they do have 5. So, I don't know much about razors, obviously, but I believe I have seen advertisements.
But they were spoofing
blades.
They were spoofing it back then, saying how ridiculous it was.
Looks like Dave can confirm that he did have a quad and a quint from
A
Pure
quad and
Project
a quint. All right.
and North Park Brewery. So yeah,
Crazy.
they're out there. I'm ready for them. I know that people are going to poke fun at them. I've always loved the double IPAs from back in the day before even the hazies were a thing, and I'm always going to drink a triple if I see one. Always.
Well, we've always been, and we actually have got some flack for this from different people that are, I'm going to use the term purist just for lack of a better term there, because I'm not even sure that's a great term to use, but that think things like adjuncts in a beer or going to triple, quadruple IPA are weird. We've always been one. We'll play with the crazy stuff. I may not sit down and drink it all the time, but I'm curious about it. I want to see what's going on. We'll drink a chili cheese beer. Just for
we will.
just for science, we don't have it. We'll drink a mustard beer if we have to. So, yeah, man. I mean, it's all in good fun. Again, we bought a 6-pack and we shared it on the chili cheese beer, and I think I had a few sips, a pour of it one time, and then I think I tried it once more when we poured it again, and that was absolutely enough of that for me. They hit what they were going for. It was a beer that tasted like chili and cheese. So,
Yes.
congratulations. You did what you wanted to do there. I don't want to have a pint of it or anything, but you definitely accomplished that.
Believe it or not, I still have a can of that left. And the last time I came in contact with the can, I noticed it was very, very rock hard. So I moved it into the fridge to prevent anything. I honestly have no idea what to expect if and when I ever open the thing up, but it's in one of the lower beer sections that I don't look at very often. But the next time I'm in the mood for chili and cheese, if I ever find those stadium nachos, I'm going to have that beer with them.
With that. Yeah, that sounds like a good plan. That's definitely a solid plan. Well, Brian, moving right along with some news stories. So this was timely, ironic, maybe. We've been talking a lot about Hulk Hogan here and his beer and the different things that his company's been going through. And right after last week's show, the Hulkster passed away, man. So RIP to Hulk Hogan. And it sounds like that has been a good thing for sales of his beer.
Yeah, this is the crazy thing, and I'm seeing this reported from a lot of places. But this company can't seem to avoid being in the news for all the wrong reasons. They're nearly as good at being in the news for bad reasons as BrewDog is. And like you said, Hulk Hogan passed away. He was 71 last week when he passed, and it's being reported as cardiac arrest for anybody who's curious about it. I'm like, he's was a wrestler. He did a lot of things. Probably in the 80s. I'm guessing there might have been some steroids. I'm like, I'm curious what got him. And so cardiac arrest, but there have also been rumors about, a recent surgery that didn't go as well as it could have. He was a wrestler. He really was hard on his body, and he's had a lot of surgeries too, just to, deal with that. And I imagine there's been a fair amount of pain involved in that, but all of this comes on the heels of, the parent company being sued. A week or two ago, we were talking about that. And like you said, his beer apparently is flying off the shelves, even according to TMZ. And I'm like, TMZ is talking about a beer. I'm like, all right, I need to look into this. And so we don't actually have any real data to back up the rumors, but TMZ reports that there has been a run on the beer, and the company is actually having trouble keeping it in stock, according to their sources. And on top of that, I was reading the article just to keep things crazy. In that same story, the CEO of Real American Beer said that the acquisition that we talked about way back when of Hooters, the restaurant chain, that's still very much on the table. So they brought that back up to make sure people know that they're still looking at doing that. This is, I can't stop watching it. Honestly, I feel gross about it a little bit, but I'm going to continue watching this because I can't just. They can't stop. They won't stop doing things to get them in the news. But anyway, the important thing is rest in peace, Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, R.I.P. He was I was never a big wrestling fan, and I don't remember if I mentioned this in any of our other stories about him. But being a kid in the southern U.S., a lot of the kids that I knew were very into wrestling. So, whether or not I was into it didn't matter because it was going to be on. It was going to be talked about. And
He was
all
an
that good
iconic
stuff.
part of the 80s. I didn't
Of
even
course.
watch wrestling, but
Yeah.
I knew about him. I knew a lot of stuff. I saw him in things. He'd promote, I think, cereals and things when I
Yeah,
was
he
a
had
kid.
a
I
cereal,
saw
right?
him
Yeah.
everywhere. I kind of knew the guy without ever really following his career. So like I see that and I'm like, oh man, that's a piece of the 80s that's gone, you know? Like
Yeah.
that's a piece of my childhood that just no longer there.
I think it
Yeah.
was later in life before we started hearing about some of the bad sides of him, you know. So he was just
Yeah.
when we were kids, and I don't remember hearing anything. But to be honest, when you're a kid, you don't pay attention to that kind of
No, of
stuff,
course
you
not.
know. So even if there had been negative stories about him back then, I probably wouldn't have paid any mind to it. You know, he was just the Hulkamania man. Just
Yeah,
had
man.
to enjoy it.
That the whole era where the super over muscle bound whatever action hero, like it
Yeah,
all fit into that. Like that's yeah, you hate to think about that. Oh yeah, they're mortal too, you know. They're not, you
they
know.
are.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately.
Ozzy,
Yes, Ozzy
Hulk
too.
Hogan. That I tell you what, guys, not to go off on too far of a tangent, but I have not seen a celebrity in a long time that has had the constant tributes and coverage of Ozzy Osbourne. I really didn't realize what an impact
Oh
he
yeah.
had. You know, now I'd always been an Ozzy fan. I wouldn't. I liked Ozzy. Maybe fan is the wrong word. I liked his stuff. I liked Black Sabbath. I liked Ozzy Osbourne. But man, yeah, he caught following, and everybody's just throwing their tributes out. His funeral, I think, was earlier this week, and they, you know, live streamed the procession and everything. So what a guy, man. The Prince
I
of
heard he was.
Darkness.
Yeah, I didn't know. Like I was familiar with some of the music, and I don't know. I definitely couldn't say fan. I liked some of it. I just
Yeah,
didn't know it well. But everything I keep seeing is like he was such a really good dude, and just in general,
yeah.
like he had the whole Prince of Darkness persona. But in reality, the people that know him, like he was a good dude. I didn't watch the show. They had a reality show. I'm not into
Hmm.
reality shows either, so unfortunately I
Yeah.
missed that. But yeah, everything I hear is like he was just the coolest of dudes, and he went out. Like he couldn't have set it up any better. Like he went out with a blaze of glory, and yeah, with the live thing, and I did watch parts of that, and I was like, man, that was a great show. I didn't even see the whole
Yeah.
thing. I'm like, I would go back and watch that entire show. That seemed like it was a good call on his part. So like, you know, it was a nice see you later. I know I'm on the way out, and let's go out and top. And he totally did. I'm like, I don't think anybody's ever done the whole going out thing better that I can think of. Like that's, if you're gonna go, that's the way to do it. And he did it, you know.
Yeah. I saw an interview he did a while ago. Well, I guess it was after he got sick and he'd been pretty much homebound for a while. And he said, you know, I've been laying in bed for years now, and I've got to perform again. And they're like, well, what if you can't? He's like, that's not an option. He's like, even if it's just one more show, I have to. And you could see he meant that. He needed that. He needed to do
Yeah,
one more
yeah,
show. And man, he did him one more show, and in 3 weeks he's he's gone. So what a
yeah.
life. What a life
Heck of a
Ozzy
life. Yeah.
lived. Yeah. But well, Brian, you mentioned Hulk Hogan's beer company has been in the news about as much as Brewdog lately, which of course is timely because Brewdog is in the news again, Brian, as they seem to always do. This time, you know, I don't think this is anything hugely controversial for them. Usually there's a little
No.
controversy surrounding it. But with everybody closing, Brewdog's being hit as well, and they're going to be closing 10 of their pubs across the UK.
Yeah, 10 of them, including their original flagship location in Aberdeen, which has got to sting a little bit. But apparently, part of the reason you don't see them as often as James Watt stepped like down, but like laterally, because he's got some special role, but he's not CEO anymore. So I don't think he's calling quite the shots. And he was kind of the driving force behind all the crazy that got them into the news.
Okay.
But yeah. Yeah. So the reason that they're giving for the 10 pubs that they're closing, these are familiar reasons: ongoing industry challenges, rising costs, other, you know, economic pressures. But they also mentioned some issues involving increased regulation, which I didn't know about. And there maybe it's has to do with some, you know, laws about employment or whatever. But yeah, a trade union called Unite has criticized the announcement, stating that some of the closures will happen within days. Probably by the time you hear it, maybe it's already happened. Most likely giving employees less than 4 days notice before they're out of a job. Brewdog claims that they're going to go through a 14-day consultation process for the affected staff, and they will focus on redeployments of that staff. And but they don't mention how many employees that's going to affect. We're talking about 10 pubs, so it could be quite a few people. So as big as closing 10 pubs sounds, Brewdog had a total of 71 pubs in the UK, as well as bars in Dubai, Australia, and the US. So there's a chance that these people could actually be, put in places that are still open. Oh yeah, and not to mention they do have a profitable joint venture with Budweiser in China, which is very punk of them. I want to point out.
Super punk.
Yeah,
super
very
punk.
Yes.
Yeah. Is there brew pub here in Atlanta still open? I haven't heard of it closing, but I don't pay a lot of attention to it.
I had a feeling like it had closed, but maybe Mo Mike Nate can look into that. Maybe it's still open. I thought it closed though. I do think it did.
It's a place that I just don't think of, and within the craft beer community, no one really mentions them. I think they're the in between thing. They're the people that don't want to drink, quote unquote macro beers. Because they've got their fans, like the Equity for Punks and all of that they did.
Yeah.
But definitely not my thing. Nate, what you got for us?
Brewdog Atlanta is still open. They closed at 11 p.m. tonight.
Really? Okay.
There you go.
I must have gotten them confused with another place to close. We have had a lot of closures here, so I could be excused for making that mistake. I apparently they've had some success with they've taken a run at Guinness with their own kind of like dry Irish stout. So I don't know. That might be helping them out. I'm not sure, because Guinness is getting a lot of love these days, as we all know. Yeah.
Have you been, Brian? You and I visited the brew pub in Atlanta one time, but have you been back since then, or?
I haven't. I completely forgot it was here, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
I really
I forget about it too.
Yeah.
Nate, how about you? Have you been down there?
I have never been there.
Yeah, and the area that it's in, there's just a lot of better stuff down there. If I'm going to go, it's not close for me. It's down kind of the south side of Atlanta. And if I'm going to go down that way, Brewdog is not going to be on my list.
I'd go back down there because now, out of curiosity, I just haven't in a while been there. So interesting.
Brian just wants to go gawk once more. He's like, oh yeah,
kind of looking around. I remember
here.
It was a very large space. Like they put a lot of money into that.
I don't know. They were busy the day we were there, Brian. So
they were
for
pretty
what
busy.
It's worth.
Yeah.
Well, Brian, on a little lighter news note, the Beer Mile World Classic has a new world record.
Yeah, they do. Canada's Corey Belmore broke his own world record at the Beer Mile at the 11th annual Beer Mile World Classic in Lisbon, Portugal. He competed in the event, which involves running 4 laps and consuming 4 beers in an amazing 4 minutes and 27 seconds. His fastest recorded time ever. I couldn't do that without the beer, or in any, maybe not even with a car. According to the official rules, each beer must be at least 355 milliliters, 5% alcohol, and fully consumed, with penalties for spillage and or leftover foam. So none of that nonsense. This marks Belmore's 7th world title, improving on his previous official best of 4 minutes and 28 seconds from 2021. So he dropped it by like a second. He first broke the world record in 2016. Apparently, the beer mile tradition, in case you were curious, originated in Ontario in the late 1980s with Canadian running clubs. They formalized the rules, aka the Kingston rules. These were established by Queen's University students in the early 1990s. So it's been around for a little while. My question for you guys is, if you were going to try to do a beer mile and you could pick the beer, which beer would you pick? Assuming you could do a beer mile, let's just pretend you're like totally fit.
Let's act like we can all do the. Yeah. So is it an actual mile? I feel like it's not if he did it in 4 minutes and 27 seconds, because I think even running like an actual mile, isn't it? Nate, do you know anything about that? Yeah. I think like a 6 minute mile is fast or something like that.
I mean, if you're really dialed in, like anything below 5 is wildly great. So a 6 minute mile, you're doing good.
And if dude's doing 4 minutes 27 seconds and chugging beers in between, that's booking. But Zach chimed in here and he said they're legit runners. He's like, these folks are runners. So
I saw the picture. There's not an ounce of fat on the guy. And I did a quick search, and the AI quickly told me that 3 minutes, 43 seconds, and 13 milliseconds was the fastest. I think it's a record time by Hikam El. Man, I'm ruining of Morocco. I'm just going to
For a
say
mile?
for a mile in
Okay.
1999. So under
All
4
right.
minutes is the actual record. So the guy looks really fit, but he's up there with like record holders. If
All
this
right.
really was a mile, I don't know if it was, to be honest with you, but
Well, since you give me the other stats to kind of fill in the context of it, I think that would be if the world record's 343, the guy is a legit runner, and he did it 427 and cranking the beers. I think that checks out, right?
yeah. I mean,
right.
it keeps saying it's like a mile. It's like 4 laps around a 400-meter quarter-mile track. So I guess it's a proper mile.
The maths, Brian. It does.
It does. So they are very serious runners.
All right,
Like,
man.
that's
Good stuff.
fantastic. So
That's
what beer
it,
would you
man.
drink? What beer would
Well,
you drink
I'm
if you had
sorry,
to
I
do that?
did derail your question there, didn't I? So, Nate, I'll let you start, man. What beer would you take for that?
Oh, I've already got it. I think carbonation is the killer. So I
Yeah,
would drink
probably.
Still Lambic.
Oh, you still
Out of that
Ooh.
box.
I want to watch because I want to see him put 4 12-ounce glasses of lambic in his guts and run. I want to. So yeah, I'm here for it, man.
I'm not gonna beat any records here, dudes.
Yeah.
What was the
Nate
thing that
with a record his personal best of 14 minutes and 12 seconds. So
what was the before Orpheus closed? They were selling some interesting things out of the tap room. I think they had a swing top bottle of something still. Was it a barley wine?
It was a barley wine.
I want to drink that.
Wine.
I will
Okay.
be drinking that. It's
Sir.
at least 5%. It's still, and by the time it hits me, I will probably be finished, and I will pass out. On the
Brian,
side,
it's at least 13.9%.
there you go. See,
that's fine.
You guys put more thought into this than I did because I didn't think about the carbonation and some blow. Now I wonder if there's any rules on that because they mentioned something about any beer or foam left in the glass. So, maybe if you tried to throw a still beer there, they're like, no, this is it. Or
I didn't see anything about it, but
curves at the rule books
to pretend that there's foam.
Okay. Well, you know what? I'm gonna take Jenny Cream. That's gonna be mine. I'll run my beer mile with Jenny Cream.
You might win actually because Mike Nate might be doubled over with all the pain from all of the acids in his stomach, and I might be just blackout on the from the all the 40%
on the side of the
beer.
track.
Yeah.
3/4 of a mile in, laid out.
Tim will be like, "Oh, I'm so bloated," but you'll still be making progress.
Be going. Complete my 60-minute mile in no time.
Yes.
Good stuff. Well, Brian, before we move on, how about we give a shout out to our sponsor?
Yeah, it's not a bad idea. So the trauma of seeing a pumpkin beer on the shelf in July this past weekend has me feeling all kinds of chaotic emotions, I got to say. Rage, disgust, confusion, rage, disgust, also confusion. All of the pumpkin beer appropriate emotions. So I'm channeling all that crazy pumpkin energy into a pretty chaotic list of beers that will help me forget all about the experience. And I'm starting to forget already, but before I do, here are my thoroughly unbalanced Truck and Tap beer picks for the week. At Truck and Tap Woodstock, I'm going with Fat Orange Cat's Roll Me One Cowboy, which is a beast of an imperial stout clocking in at 13%. It's made with chocolate, caramel, and coffee, and it's a good one. I've had this one before, or at least one of the variants of them. Apparently there are quite a few, but I've never had it on tap, so I'd like to do that. And as we like to say here, stouts are for summer. At the Duluth location, I'm getting Bold Monk's Anchor of the Soul. And as a measure of how crazy this list is, it's this crazy. Anchor of the Soul is an American barley wine, Tim. It's an American barley wine. And I picked that. Yeah, it's the kind with an unapologetic, resinous wave of American hops. And that's a quote. But it also has notes of caramelized sugar and toasted bread. So take that, pumpkin beers. Take that. I hope that hurts. At Truck and Tap Alpharetta, my pick is New Realm's Lupulin Love Triangle IPA, which is a triple IPA, which I didn't know we were going to be talking about triple IPAs before this. But yeah, we've been talking with Dave like we talked about, and I don't see him on the list at Truck and Tap very often. So I know the last triple IPA I had from New Realm was good. Well, I forget the name of it. It was right after they opened. They had a big large form. Radagast. I like that a lot. So I'm not going to miss out on this one. I think this will be good. And finally, at the Lawrenceville location, I'm going with Delirium's Nocturnum. It's a big Belgian strong dark with layers of malt and dark fruit notes. It's basically liquid bread. And the delirium part, it just is appropriate for the theme of this list. So it's a good beer too. So that's basically it. It's the crazy part. So there you have my unhinged beer picks for the week. As always, if you'd like to see the full tap list before stopping by, take a look at truckandtap.com. Don't worry, you're not going to see any pumpkin beers there, so you will not be traumatized in that way. And if you'd like to see the what food trucks are serving there and what's happening, you can also find that at truckandtap.com. Basically, everything you need to know can be found at truckandtap.com. So check that out. And thank you to Truck and Tap for your support.
Thanks, Truck and Tap. Well, Brian, interesting news. I know you've been following the heck out of this, that you've really been on top of it. And the show King of the Hill is relaunching or has relaunched. I'm really not sure, to be honest with you. But there was going to be a beer to go along with it, or I guess there will be a beer with through Alamo Beer Company. But Brian, it's delayed. It was supposed to be out, but the King of the Hill beer launch has been delayed.
Yeah, I think the only people that care more about this news story is every local news station around the country, because they keep reporting on it incessantly. But the highly anticipated retail launch of Alamo Beer Company's King of the Hill beer is on hold, like you said. And I've been bombarded with stories about this this announcement ever since it was first mentioned. But anyway, Alamo Beer was supposed to that beer was supposed to hit stores this week, but there has been a slight delay. According to the brewery, there seems to have been some logistical issues with getting the beer out to retailers. They say their distributor was late picking up the beer. You know what? I'm like, I read this and I'm like, are you telling me a distributor is to blame for this? That can't be. They're a crucial, efficient part of the 3-tier system. You can't possibly get a beer from point A to point B without the help of a qualified profit siphoning middleman. It just wouldn't work. I won't believe it. And I won't hear anybody telling me otherwise. But anyway, as it stands now, it's unclear if the beer will make it to shelves before the reboot. I guess it's officially a reboot of the show, not a continuation of the King of the Hill. That series, it starts up on August 4th. So
well, I guess that answers my question on that.
Yeah.
Then. Okay.
So you might not have it in that time. And don't tell me it's the distributor. No, they're so important.
Never
so
believe it. Never, ever believe it.
Never believe that. No.
Well, and that's that's going to be a Texas release. Is that right? Is that just going to be for the locals?
It is. Yeah. Initially, it's going to, I think, be Texas, but they're actually, based on previous readings of this, they're planning to make this more widely available around the country. They're looking for like a national release of it. So
I see.
It's just starting in Texas. So,
okay.
Yeah.
One day it will start in Texas. Yeah. Interesting stuff. Well, Brian, some news that we heard recently, kind of local, semi-local here, but Bearded Iris Brewing, which is based out of Nashville, and they had partnered with
Scofflaw
Brewing. And was it Indie Brew that they created? Was that it? So they partnered with Indie Brew, and I saw you and Nate chatting about this earlier. I actually meant to mention it because I was chatting with a friend earlier in the week who mentioned that they were no longer a couple there. But following up on that, Brian, Bearded Iris has been sold to another company, and you got news on that.
I do. It's been really difficult to find any official details on this. I found some articles that are behind paywall, so it's hard to know how much real news they have and how much of it's just an attention-grabbing headlines. But multiple sources are saying Bearded Iris has been sold to Wiseacre Brewing out of Memphis. So Bearded Iris is out of Nashville. One small tidbit I was able to find is that apparently Wiseacre has applied for permits related to two Bearded Iris locations in Nashville due to a change in ownership. So that's on the record. So that seems pretty conclusive that this really is happening. Apparently the sale was finalized on Tuesday, according to some information I gleaned off of people discussing it. What makes this especially interesting is that Bearded Iris, like you said, was part of a brewery collective with Atlanta Scofflaw called Indie Brew. And I think there were some interesting conversations about who owned who, like if there was a kind of a joint ownership type of thing, if Scofflaw really owned them or if they were just kind of partners in some way. But apparently that's no longer the case with this. And there are also rumors that the situation behind Bearded Iris and Wiseacre will be similar to the relationship that had been between Bearded Iris and Scofflaw. So I've heard people speculating and talking about that say it with some conviction as though they know it, that one didn't buy the other. They're entering into some kind of a partnership. That doesn't seem to be what's happening, at least from a legal standpoint, but it's really hard to know from the outside. And I looked at everybody's social media, nobody's saying anything about this. And, like searches for them buying, give me 2 articles out of Nashville that are both paywalled. So, yeah, Mike Nate, I don't know. You might have a few more additional details about this that you've been talking around with people. I don't know if you can share them or not, but if you do, I'm curious what those would be.
I've been talking to my old buddies over at Scofflaw, and it just came down to some ownership differences. And so Bearded Iris got out. As far as I know, Indie Brew is still going to continue being a parent company for Scofflaw. As far as Scofflaw's future goes, they're still just going to continue making beer and selling a lot of beer. And then Bearded Iris is just going to be owned by Wiseacre moving forward.
Was Scofflaw brewing all of Bearded Iris beers? Because I heard that they were like maybe contract brewing the lion's share of some of their more popular beers. Was that right, or was that not
That
the
wouldn't have been
situation?
contract brewing though. If they were
Oh
the same
yeah, I guess it wouldn't be
contract, just
contract.
been
Yeah.
brewing. Yeah.
When I worked for Scofflaw, we were making Bearded Iris homestyle.
Okay, so they were, because I think people were referencing that and talking like beer geeks do about like, well, homestyle's not as good because Scofflaw's doing it. I don't know. I haven't been drinking homestyle very in significant amounts in quite a while myself. So
yeah. Weren't there going to be other breweries like the Bearded Iris Scofflaw thing was supposed to be the start of Indie Brew? Like they were looking to become kind of a larger cooperative, I believe, right?
yeah, that was the initiative when they first started out, like the whole thing where let's get together, we can, make things more efficient and cut costs and share, basically buying larger volumes and split things up and, use capacity better. I think that was the goal of it, but I haven't heard a thing about it since basically the announcement. And then
Right.
this.
Yeah. Not much about it. All right. Oh, well, interesting stuff, man. Beer business. I guess it's business, however, so things happen.
Yeah, there's also another rumor, since we're talking about Nashville. I'll throw this in there in case anybody from Nashville is listening and they want to fill us in or whatever. But there have been rumors that Southern Grist is being acquired by Knoxville's XUL. Is that Zool?
Zool, I believe.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Zool. These appear to still be rumors. I don't think anybody has any real meat on the bone, but I found a lot of discussion about this going back for like the past year, where people were talking about this maybe being a thing, and some people claim this is definitely a thing, man. Like there's no proof of it, and I have no idea. I haven't seen Southern Grist beers in a while either, so just throwing that out there in case you're in Nashville and you have some information. Let me know.
Let us know.
I'm
Fill us
interested.
in there. Yeah. Well, Brian, Buffalo Beer Company had a double whammy. We're going to say, Brian, they were vandalized.
Yes.
And then on top of that, they got boned by their insurance company.
That is correct, because that's how insurance companies work. But yeah, Buffalo Brewing Company experienced some significant vandalism recently. Vandals hopped the fence and dismantled the brewery's chiller, stealing aluminum and copper components. Do people still do that? Apparently, yes.
I'm surprised that they worded that as vandalism. That's just theft, man.
Yeah,
okay.
It's destruction of property and theft, but yeah. So it's been pretty devastating. Without the chiller, apparently 100 barrels or 3,100 gallons of beer in the tank spoiled. I guess part of me thinks that like that could be a way that maybe they could salvage that, but I don't know what they were brewing. Basically, that amounted to $25,000 worth of lost product. They couldn't put that into the market, basically. What makes the story even worse is that the destroyed chiller had just been rebuilt in October, and they tuned it up again in May of this year, incurring previous expenses for the brewery on this same item that was destroyed. The replacement cost of the chiller is estimated between $15,000 and $20,000, and I think part of that expense will go towards relocating it from where it was vulnerable, to a place where it's more secure, and then going to address some other security issues as part of it as well. And because like we said, like I've said before, a lot of times, insurance is a scam, basically organized crime. The brewery's insurance company is not doing a thing to cover the damages. So the brewery started a GoFundMe. The good news here is that there's a significant outpouring of support for Buffalo Brewing Company. The last time I checked, they were at 88% of their $20,000 goal. So I think that they're going to be made right by the people, not by the insurance, because again, insurance, organized crime. What's sad is the persons that did the vandalism caused tens of thousands of dollars for what amounted to a couple of $100 worth of like copper and aluminum. And I wonder if does this happen a lot to brewers and we don't hear about it?
People steal catalytic converters off cars.
But did they still do that? Is that a thing still? Or I thought that was like
why would it not be?
Well, I just thought that the price for the materials I think at one point they may have been up at a level like.
See, Brian's not like disgustingly wealthy or anything.
No,
but he's comfortable enough to where he doesn't realize that to some people, $200 or $300 is a lot of money, and they would stab him in his eyeball for $200 or $300. So
it's a fix.
So if people are people still stealing copper and silver and that,
well, it seems like a lot of hard work.
If they could get $60 for it, they would do it, right? Some of them would do it for a 40 in a paper bag, to be quite honest with you.
I could say I'd be so tired and my hands would be hurting and like I might cut myself doing that. Like that sounds terrible. I wouldn't.
But you do stupid stuff like go to work 8 hours a day or more.
That's fair. That is pretty dumb.
That seems like a lot of work. They spent 30 minutes doing it. Brian's putting in 10-hour days.
Honestly, they're probably making more. They probably are making more dollars an hour than I am.
Yeah,
so,
their hourly rate is much better than yours, right?
I am going to get into stripping and stealing catalytic converters. I've seen the light.
Two separate things, right? Stripping,
maybe both.
Stealing catalytic converters.
Can I do both at the same time and double down on it?
They could. You could. Your stage name could be like Copper Pot or something like that.
Wait, are you stripping the copper off of something?
What's that?
He's not talking about that kind of stripping. He's just talking about two different avenues of income here, both paying a higher hourly rate.
I'm talking about removing paint from the side of a building, stripping it. That's
right.
What I mean. Yes,
that's right. So Brian, my day job, I'm a recruiter for telecom, and naturally out on these telecom sites, we have a ton of copper wire in that. And a lot of the companies that do it at the end of the job, they keep all the scrap and recycle it and go back in. And, when you put in, like you see a typical cell tower, I mean, it can be hundreds of dollars that they get back just from the scrap ends off of this stuff. And there's a few companies that don't do the recycling, but offer it to the technicians. Like, you guys can take the scrap. And I've had guys ask me, like, recruiting jobs, they're like, do I get to keep the scrap? And a lot of times I don't know that unless they ask, but they're like, look, I can make an extra $300, $400, $500 per job by recycling scrap. So I was like, yeah, okay, I get it. I understand. It's not like $20 or anything. Again, Brian, to some people, I know not to you, but to some people, $300 to $500 is a substantial amount of money.
Now we're getting up to 500 now. I'm like, we were talking about $60 before. Oh, 500.
Brian's like, that's a mighty nice bottle of perfume I could get.
That's right.
Yeah,
seriously. Get some really expensive, weird stuff that smells kind of like a skunk's behind. I'm like,
right.
This
smells like a skunk. It was $1,000. Very, very unique.
Ooh, tell me more. Tell me more.
But yeah,
how many
Brian,
catalytic converters will this take?
Right. Yeah. Can you save some time and just swap the catalytic converters over? Do you have to strip them out? So. Well, Brian, timely with the temperature here. You gotta smell good. You gotta cool down. You gotta stay fresh. And just in time, Coors Light has released a cold activated deodorant.
Yeah.
And Brian, I'm going to preface this by saying cold is not usually what activates your deodorant. So I'm really curious to hear exactly how this works.
So the science behind it, unfortunately, is not explained, but all I can tell you is what the claims are. So this appears to be the latest entry in the macro beer marketing shenanigans competition. So they've collaborated, Coors Light has, with Dura Dry. I guess they're a company that does a lot of deodorants and things like that, and to create a deodorant they're calling Dura Chill, and you're supposed to keep it in the refrigerator next to your beer. because I don't know, after a beer, it might be, if your beer is not cold enough, at least you've got a cold deodorant to cool you off, I guess. They're calling it cold activated, like you said, and it has the same cold activated mountain design as a Coors Light can. So if you put your deodorant in the refrigerator, you'll know when it's cold enough because the mountains will turn blue. To be clear, the deodorant is not actually made with beer in this case, so that's mildly disappointing. I would expect a collaboration with Coors Light with a beer company to include the actual beer. So they need to do better on this. But as for how it smells, it's said to have a Rocky Mountain breeze scent, whatever that means. I'm guessing ozonic and maybe some trees, some greenery,
snow maybe, cool and that. So
yeah.
I was going to
some
ask if it smelled
mintiness,
like
maybe.
beer. Yeah, interesting.
It should. You would think it would, but it didn't either. I feel like they haven't quite put enough effort into making this collaboration everything it could be. But so I don't understand what the chill process is. Maybe that's just purely applying the stick to the pits will cool you off because it's ice cold itself. Maybe that's it. Maybe that inhibits the sweating. But if you're lucky enough to find it in stock on the Coors Light website, a 2.3 ounce stick of DuraChill is priced at $14.99. So $15 for a stick of deodorant. I don't know. Is that pricey these days? That seems slightly high.
I think it's about double. Mine I think is $5 or $6 a stick now, or something like that. And to be honest, that's kind of expensive. I mean, I remember buying it when it was like $2.99. I guess that happens as you get older. Brian, I got barbecue for dinner last night, and I got a side of coleslaw with it. I swear this was a damn shot glass of coleslaw, and it was like $2.49. And like the main thing that occupied my brain the whole meal was, I can't believe they charged me $2.49 for this amount of coleslaw. So,
what is going on with prices these days? Maybe
it's all crazy, man. And I think we're Gen Xers, Brian. We're Gen Xers. So we're getting to the point where the prices we remember from our younger days, there's a substantial gap there. I mean, when you're in 20s, you're remembering prices from 5 years ago. It's a little bit more expensive, but it's not insane. But I'm old enough, Brian, that I remember when gas was 89 cents a gallon, and I remember my parents telling me, like, I don't remember the exact price, but 10 or 25 cents or something.
Oh yeah.
But now, Brian, we're talking damn near 100-year span, on that, or I guess about a 60-year, 60 or 70-year span. But in high school, I had my first vehicle was a 1986 Ford Mustang hatchback, which I loved. And it wasn't the fast one. It wasn't the 5.0. It had a 2.3 liter 4-cylinder in it with a 12-gallon tank. And the reason I remember this is my car was a go-to car. Kind of funny, Brian, still, if we go out 9 times out of 10, I drive. We take my vehicle. It's always been that way with me. And but we would get all my friends together, and if everybody gave me $2, we got a tank of gas out of that. So it was full tank of gas, and with a little 4-cylinder, you can run a long time on a tank of gas.
I have also personally bought gas for about 80 cents a gallon.
Yeah.
And I'm cheating a little bit because there was some weird time in the late 80s where I don't know what was going on, but the price of a barrel of oil, crude oil, dropped. And we seriously had, like, I want to say 97, 98, 99. And I was driving around. We had stations selling gas for like 80 cents a gallon. And I was like, oh my goodness. And so I filled up all the time. I'm like, all right, this is amazing. I'm driving everywhere all the time. I'm going to drive to my mailbox at the end of the driveway. And then
because I can afford to do it, man. I can afford to do
it. Is basically free at this point. So yeah, there was a period of time where, I did that. And I'm like, this is cool. It was rolling back because prior to that, I want to say it was like in the $1.20, $1.30, $1.40 type of range. And that was a significant drop. Sub $1 is a big deal. Now sub $2 is insane. But
sub $3, I think. I don't even know.
That's a fair point. I don't know,
Brian, because much like you, I am just disgustingly wealthy. I don't ever really look at gas prices. I just know I need gas, so I fill the tank up, so it's kind of like I notice it every now and then. I don't necessarily notice it when I'm buying gas. You know what? I don't know the cost of a gallon of gas, but I know I get salty every time I see the total of how much
Yes.
it takes to fill my tank up.
I know the total
So,
is cheaper than it has been at some
Yeah.
points in the past by in some cases a considerable amount. But
Uh-huh.
honestly, my thing is I don't do a lot of driving, but the driving I do is necessary. So to my mind, the price is the price. I'm like, I need to
No
drive.
choice, man.
I
Gotta have
just kind of
gas.
suck it up. I'm like, we're putting the nozzle in and we're just letting it go until it's done, and whatever it costs is what I'm gonna have to
If I
bear,
have to, I'll
basically.
go still a
Yeah.
catalytic converter to pay for this.
Absolutely.
So,
maybe
yeah.
maybe get into a chiller, a beer chiller, and
Yeah.
see what I
And
can find there.
talking about remembering price changes, Brian, I remember when you could get a 40 ounce of Old English for like $1.35. So I don't know what it costs now, but I can almost guarantee that it's not $1.35 these days.
I'm curious what a 40-ounce price is.
On good old oldie, because yeah,
I want to say I've seen it for $1 before, like maybe a place was running a special, because there was a period of time right out of college where we were making okay money, but we still had like school bills to pay off. So we thought we were doing well, but we really weren't doing well. So we did like 40s nights. We seriously would make a point of going to convenience stores attached to gas stations and looking at over which had the most interesting selections we hadn't had.
Oh,
So
yeah,
we were
okay.
picking thematically what our 40s would be, which is kind of funny that sometimes our entire Friday night was like, ooh, I got this 40 and this 40 and this 40. And I don't know if we drank all of them. I want to say that we probably didn't drink more than one, but
Well,
maybe we got into two. I don't know. I'm like, we
I-
were young and stupid.
Old English at one time had a 64 ounce. I don't know if they still do, but that was a good sized jug of beer. I remember enjoying those. That was a good time for sure.
You know what? I did a quick search and it looks like a Mickey's 40. The search is like showing me a summary of like, I don't know what this is. Somewhere in
Get it
Colorado.
together, Brian. Give us the info.
Yeah, Mickey's is $3.49 for a 40. Steel Reserve $3.49. It looks like $3.49 across the board. Oh, Coors Light's $3.99. Excuse me. So apparently they do that as well. So
That's
you're
about
looking
what
at
I would have guessed.
like
Okay.
3 times the price. I don't
Yeah.
even. You can't even get just absolutely wasted like an
Nope.
absolute trash human being for cheap anymore. What is wrong with this world where it's
Crazy, man.
expensive to even get liquored up on giant
On
bottles of
cheap
malt liquor.
beer
Yeah,
these days. Yeah.
Terrible.
Used to be, man, you had $2 on you. You were in for a good time.
That's right.
That's it.
Yeah,
That's all it
exactly.
took, man. Well, good stuff. Well, guys, that about wraps it up for our show this week. Everyone, again, we thank you for tuning in, hanging out with us here. I say tune in. We're not on the radio anymore. We thank you for turning the podcast on and press and play. We really appreciate the fact that you loaded the podcast, press the play button, and that you listen to the point where you hear me saying this right now. I can't tell you how much we appreciate that. So if you dig what we're doing, please tell a friend to tune in and check out the show. And if you really like us, we would absolutely love for you to support us on Patreon. Just go to patreon.com/beerguys. We'll get you over in our Discord server where we chat about all kinds of crazy things. We'll invite you to the after party each week, and we'll send you out some cool swag. But with all that said, we hope that you have a very good week. And don't forget to drink local. Cheers. Clear, clear, clear.
I think I'm going to go.
You
run a
know,
beer
you
mile
boys are
now.
talking about your gas below $1. In my
Nate,
lifetime,
let's wrap up the stream and we'll cover this. So y'all, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Have a good week. We'll be back next week. Cheers.